Welcome to the presentation today. My name is Darien Hill, the owner of Smart Growth Marketing. And today we're going to be talking about 3 steps to attract high quality leads and sales with Facebook advertising. So, does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you've spent money on Facebook ads in the past, and maybe you're a little bit frustrated that you could never really get them to convert into sales. Maybe you've been growing your business and your business depends on generating high quality leads, but you're not consistently generating the right type of leads right now for your business. Maybe you're already doing things like Facebook Lives, posting videos on social media, but you're not sure how to leverage them strategically for your business growth. And of course, today we have the pandemic that's affecting so many businesses. So maybe your business has been affected by COVID, and now you're looking for new ways to be able to grow and scale your business. So if this sounds like you, then you're in the right place because I'm going to show you how to leverage social media to generate results. So in this presentation, here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to share with you my smart ads framework that has helped many of my coaching clients generate anywhere up to 3x to 10x their ROI, right? So they return on their ad spend. So for every dollar that they spend on advertising, they're receiving $3 to $20 back in the advertising. We're also going to show you how to create magnetic social media content. That's right, content that captures your audience attention so that you can generate results. We're going to talk about the type of ads you should be using to automate the sales process and grow your business. So many business owners are just not utilizing automation effectively when they're running the advertising. And of course, we know that right now, so many businesses are frustrated because the algorithm, Facebook is changing all the time. How do you beat the algorithm so that you don't spend a fortune on your Facebook advertising without any results? So we're going to be covering that today. All right, so I just want to kind of share with you some of the clients that I've worked with. And, you may be asking, well, Darien, why should I listen to you? Who are you? As I mentioned before, I own a company called Smart Growth Marketing. And over the past 6 years, I've been helping businesses, coaches, speakers, authors, trainers leverage social media, put the right systems in place to be able to generate more sales, qualified leads. And so I just want to highlight a few of my customers who I've worked with. Number one, we have Shalene Johnson, who is a fitness guru. Many of you have heard of her through things like Beachbody. She's one of the biggest fitness gurus across the United States. I've worked in this niche of the political arena, helping local politicians to get elected not just once, but twice. And then also working with individuals, public figures who are building massive platforms of millions and millions of people across the globe. And so I wanted to share this with you, not to impress you, but to just impress upon you that, I'm not someone who is just working with a small mom and pops. I've worked with a lot of big companies, big names, a lot of big figures who are spending millions of dollars in advertising. So I know what works, and I'm constantly in the trenches with my clients, tweaking, optimizing, and working on, advancing Facebook advertising to generate great results. So some of the same principles that I use with these clients, I'm going to share with you today. So you're going to get access to the information that typically most people are not privy to, so that you can start implementing these processes today in your business. So you may have heard a little bit of an accent, right? Yeah, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm not from Jamaica. I'm actually from Antigua. And in 1996, I received a full scholarship for track and field to come to the United States, and graduated in 2000, moved down to Orlando, Florida, and got straight into sales and marketing. Started my first company in 2004 and did my own marketing, direct response marketing in that business, built that company very successfully, and then eventually moved on into social media marketing. So that's kind of my brief history without boring you with too many details about how I got started in this space. And I love what I do because I get to help individuals to share their message, inspire people who they're meant to serve in a very, very powerful way. So I help you to amplify your message on social media. Great stuff. So here's one of my clients that I recently helped. We put together an ad campaign for her where she was using a challenge, a Facebook challenge, a 5-day challenge to attract her audience. And I show you this case study because oftentimes uh, people say, well, things you generate leads or you generate results when things are going well, right? But we helped this client through the pandemic. She was actually going to cancel her launch, and we pushed through the launch and did the right things, the things I'm going to teach you today. Um, to help her to generate results. So as you can see, we helped a client who was considering canceling her challenge generate over 1,500 new leads and enroll over 30 people into our high ticket program. So what I'm saying to you is that the principles not just only work during good times, they work regardless of what's happening in the marketplace. So if you apply the principles I'm going to teach you today, you're going to generate great success. Okay? Wonderful. So one of my favorite authors is Wallace Wattles. And here's what Wallace Wattles says. He says this. He said, people don't get what they want by doing certain things. They get what they want by doing certain things in a certain way. Now, I love this quote because it really relates to one of the biggest frustrations and challenges I see so many businesses, coaches, speakers, public figures are dealing with respect to social media marketing and Facebook advertising. They're not getting the results that they want, not because they're not doing certain things. They're posting, they're doing the Facebook lives, right? They're commenting, they're doing certain things. The problem is they're not doing these certain things in a certain order. So there's a strategy that's required to generate real success when it comes to Facebook advertising. If you don't have a great strategy, then no matter what tactical things that you're doing, you're not going to see great results. So we've put together what we call a SMART method, okay? And our SMART method, SMART actually stands for strategic message at the right time. So the overall certain way of doing things is to make sure that you have the right message communicating to the right audience at the right time. This is very, very critical because social media is not a sale platform or selling platform. It's a relationship platform. Okay. People are not going to social media looking to buy something. So the way you approach the market, the way you communicate to your audience, depending on what stage they're in, that's going to determine what kind of success that you have. And so when I talk about stage, I want to share with you something that's very critical and important for everyone to understand. Every buyer, all of us as consumers, we go through three different stages. It's called the three stages of the buyer's journey. We go through this journey, and the buyer's journey stipulates the stages or the process that a prospect goes through to become from a prospect to an actual sale. And so you really have to understand this. And this is why so many businesses are not having success, because they are communicating the wrong message to an audience at the wrong time. So let's go through the different stages. We have the first stage, which is called the awareness stage. The awareness stage is where people become aware of a problem that they're having. Okay. And once they become aware of a problem that they're having, then they go into the next stage, which is called consideration stage, right? They start to consider the options, right? So, and then last but not least, they go make a decision. And so imagine right now you are going through life's journey, everything is going well, and all of a sudden your car breaks down. No, you become aware that there's a problem. Okay. And so you start to consider the options. And then, of course, depending on what the severity of the breakdown is, you make a decision. So how does this relate to you for marketing? Well, in the awareness stage, you have to do what we call engagement. You have to connect with the audience in a certain way. And once you connect with them a certain way, you want to move them into what we call the lead generation, the consideration option. And then you want to connect with them to make the sale. Now, at each one of these stages, there's a certain way that you want to engage. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about momentarily. So what I want to do is I want to introduce you to my 3-step SMART method. So step number 1 is you want to connect with your audience. There's a certain way that you want to connect with people on social media. You don't want to try to sell someone when you initially meet them. You want to connect with them. And there's certain things you can do to connect with your audience. The second thing is you want to capture that lead, right? So after you connect with them, then you want to move them into some sort of, database, and make them become a lead. And of course, then you want to convert those leads into sales. See, this is the process. This is a certain order in doing things. And if you have these orders mixed up, then you're going to have a hard time generating sales. And in many cases, if you do generate a sale, it's going to be very, very expensive. Okay. So by following this process and the examples I'm going to show with you shortly, you're going to lower your cost of your advertising on Facebook. and you're going to generate a lot more results. Okay. So step number one, you want to connect with your audience. You want to capture the lead. And then number three is you want to convert that lead to a sale. So let's go ahead and go through each step. Step number one is you want to connect with your audience. So what does that mean really? Okay. And this is the connection is all about connecting in the awareness stage. Remember, we talked about the buyer's journey. So you want to follow that stage. So stage number one is connect. You want to connect with your audience. So how do you do that effectively? Well, first of all, you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. No, is how do I get my audience's attention? All right. So how do you get their attention? And of course, next thing you want to know is what is their pain, their goal, and any challenge they're having. You need to know your audience. Audience research is critical in this process. Of course, we're not going through audience research in this presentation, but making sure that you spend the time to understand your audience and what's important to them. Okay, what situations are they going through? What struggles are they dealing with? What frustrations, what pains, what goals, what challenges are they having is going to be critical to be able to know how to connect with them. Okay, so in the first stage, it's all about building that connection. I want to share with you one of the most powerful ways you can do so to build a connection, and of course, then address the issues that's important to your audience. Remember, your audience, the radio station that they're listening to is called WIIFM, right? You've probably heard this before. It's what's in it for me. So you want to make sure that your messaging is all about focusing on them. All right. So here's an example. I want to give you some case studies as I go through this process. So through the awareness phase, it's all about connection. Like I said, the first story is about connection. So one of the best ways to be able to connect with your audience is what we call through storytelling, right? You want to utilize your story to connect with your audience. In fact, one of my great coaches, Mr. Andy Henriquez, he says that you first want to connect before you sell. You will first want to connect before you sell. Because think about it. In social media, people buy from people they what? They know, they like, and they trust. Okay, so one of the ways to help them to get to know you and connect with you is by sharing your story. So here's an example of one of my clients I work with. He's a local physician and he works in the hormone wellness industry. And when I met with this guy, I learned his story. I found out that the reason he got into this industry is because his wife went into menopause and it completely changed their relationship. And of course, her quality of life diminished significantly. And so they went on this journey to find a solution, and they had some challenges in finding something. And eventually, they ran across a doctor who shared this procedure, and she went through the procedure, and it radically changed her life. Her quality of life increased, and their relationship got better. And he was a orthopedic surgeon at the time, was very successful for the past 25 years. But he decided to retrain, go back to school, and literally open up a hormone wellness practice. And so that was a powerful, powerful story. And so we utilized that story and shared it on social media. This is a video here that we had him and his wife sit down and share this story. And we put that on social media to connect with so many other women who are struggling with the same thing, right? See, your story is the window and the opportunity to be able to highlight what's going on with other people. It's an opportunity to highlight the challenges that your audience is going through, right? And when the audience sees that you can relate and connect to their pain and their issues, guess what? It creates a bond and a connection that's really, really deep. And then they want to stay within your affiliation. And that's what you want. You want your audience to see you as someone who understands their pain, understands their challenges, and is someone who's gone through the process and have been able to generate some success. And so because we understand that, we share this video and we get so many people in the target audience love the video, share the video, connect with their story, share their story, and we had some great results from this video. So, of course, when it comes to connection, you always want to be relatable, right? If you think about relationship, what is the root word of relationship? It's to relate. So you want to be relatable, and the stories allow you to be relatable. And one of the specific things that you can do, you may be asking, well, Darien, I don't really have a story. I'm not sure what story I can share that's going to be impactful for my business. Well, here's one story that you can share. Why did you start your business? One of my favorite authors, Simon Sinek, says this. He says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? People buy into your cause, your values, right? The reason why you're doing something. So by sharing your why video, it could be a 2 to 3 minute video, sharing why you started your business, what was the driver, the purpose of you getting started in your business, or why does your business exist, right? To serve a bigger cause. Share that, because ultimately people are looking to connect with a purpose, a movement, a cause, right? That's bigger than themselves. And so the more you do that, the more you're relatable, the more you build connection, and ultimately the more you can generate results. So one of the things I suggest to my clients and I recommend to you is to keep a story bank, right? So you may start off with a why story, but it may be things that's happening in your organization that you can share as stories to tell on social media. Okay, so the more stories you're telling, the more connection you can build, the more relatability you are, and the more conversions you'll have to generate for sales. Okay, so very, very, very critical. Just want to share that with you. Now, so here's the other thing that you want to be doing in the awareness stage to capture attention. Now, one of the questions I said you should ask is, what is your audience's problem, right? What are they dealing with? And so one of the best ways to capture your audience is to speak to their problem, speak to their situation, make them understand that you get their problem. One of the biggest questions your audience is having relative to picking a vendor or a solution is, does this particular brand, company, or public figure, do they understand my problem? Do they understand my unique problem? And so you demonstrate that by sharing content and information that speaks to that problem. Okay, so you want to speak to your audience's what? Problems. You want to speak to their frustrations. You want to speak to their challenges. Okay, and you want to speak to their desires. So problems and desires are going to be key for you to capture their attention. Once you are speaking to a problem or situation that your audience is having, they'll pay attention. So I want you guys to check this out. Here's another one of my clients, Mr. Andy Enriquez. He's a business storytelling coach. This guy helps people to craft their story in such a way that when they present their story, whether it be on the stage and videos, or just doing podcasts, guess what? People connect with them. And not only connect with them, he crafts the story in a way that it helps people to then convert to clients. So we basically took a couple of videos here. This is one video where we posted on Facebook and we ran as an ad. And here's what it says. If you consider yourself an influencer, speaker, coach, or entrepreneur, there are 3 powerful questions you need to be answering to increase your conversions, right? So that's a curiosity thing, right? If you want to increase your conversions, this is what we're saying, which is the goal or desire. There are 3 things you need to make sure you're great at answering. Okay, so here's a headline that says 3 questions you must answer to increase your sales conversion. So if you want to increase your sales conversion, then this is something that's going to capture your attention. Like, hey, what is this all about? Let me watch this. And so, of course, that you will do. So this is a video that we put out in the awareness stage to connect. We're not trying to sell. We're trying to connect. And that's the first stage of first step in making sure that you can convert qualified leads into sales. Of course, this is a different way in producing the video. We wrap the video here, and as you can see, increase your sales conversions by answering this one question. So we minimize this video from being 3 to now just doing one specific question, right? So we're able to repurpose the content in different ways. So just want to show you exactly what we did here relative to the video ads for this client. So that's what you want to do in step number 1. You want to make sure you're telling stories to connect with your audience, and you want to speak to your audience's problems, frustration, challenges, and desires. That is going to be very critical in the awareness phase to connect with your audience. Okay. So let's talk about step number 2. So now you've run this ad. Your ad is out there. It's engaging with your audience. It's connecting with people. So what do we do next? All right. The goal now is to move those people to the next step. The next step is you want to convert them into a lead. And what do I mean by convert them into a lead? You want to get these people on some sort of database, right? You want to get them into your Facebook group. You want to get them into your email database. You want to get them on your text marketing campaign. So whatever your database process is, you want to convert those people into a lead. So let me show you some examples of what, of course, the same clients did where after they engage or connected with the audience in the awareness stage. So now, when we talked about the buyer's journey, you have awareness, you have consideration. So now these people are in the consideration stage. So after so many people saw Dr. Carizella's video, we knew that many of them were going to ask about the solution. And so guess what we did? We produced an ebook, right? So an ebook is a piece of content that you would give away, you package and give away so that you can build trust and rapport and authority around a particular topic. Okay, so we want to make sure that people get additional information, because typically after people become aware of something, they start asking themselves some questions and they start to consider the solution, and they want to know more about what this particular solution is. So they want to be educated, they want to be informed. And so your job is to make sure in this particular stage you're educating, you're informing, you're providing value to your audience so that they see you as, wow, this person is the authority. This person knows what he's talking about. This person has done great work, and maybe they're a potential person to help me solve my problem, right? So you have to demonstrate your expertise in this area. And one great way to do that is by providing value and generating leads. So as you can see, here's an ad that we produce and we give away a free ebook, right? So in step number one, we went with stories. And all the people who were watching those videos, engaging with the first video, guess what we did? We then followed up with those people, and then we marketed this particular video, which is an ebook. And we said, hey, are you wondering if hormone therapy is right for you? Because we spoke about hormone therapy in the first video. And now we're telling them, hey, if you have questions about it, if you're wondering about it, then go ahead and download this free ebook, right? So what we're essentially trying to do is all the people who watch the video, we want to then find out which one of these people are really serious. Which of them really are having some issues in their life where they want to inquire about a potential solution? So, of course, they would see this video and then they would click on the ad, and we would then download, we would have them download the ebook. We'll take them to a website or a landing page. Landing page is a one-page website where they would download this free ebook. And now we would capture them. They're now a lead. They're on our email database. And so this is how you generate qualified leads. Not just leads, but qualified leads, because these are people who have, of course, engaged with our first story video, and then now we're engaging with our second ad. And so if they're saying, hey, listen, I'm interested, that's a qualified lead, okay? So in this section right here, just giving you some tips. Number one, this is where people want to get questions answered, right? So you want to make sure that you know exactly what questions are people going to ask after they become aware of a problem, right? So that you can write ads specifically addressing their problem. Here's a resource that you can use. There's something called answerthepublic.com. It's a free resource. You go to it, you enter your keyword or your key term or your industry, and guess what? You're going to see a bunch of questions that people are asking relative to your solution or your product or your service. So it's a great resource that you can find some questions to potentially use in your ads, right? You can certainly look at Facebook and LinkedIn groups. Join the groups where your target audience is to see what questions people are asking, and that's a great tool area to research. Also, Google Suggest Tool. You just go to Google and type in Suggest Tool, and of course that's free, and you can find different keywords and also questions people are asking as well. So again, just to recap, you want to make sure that after you connect with them in the awareness stage, then you want to make sure you're answering questions, you're providing value, and you're building some additional content pieces to give away so that you can, of course, generate a lead. And last but not least, and I almost forgot this one, but this is critical, address beliefs. Oftentimes people have false beliefs or myths about a particular topic. In this section here, you certainly want to address their beliefs as well. By doing so, you help to answer questions and move people through the journey or the mindset that they may have that may be stopping them from moving forward. Very, very critical. Okay? All right, so here's another example from Andy Enriquez. So after they connect with us, watch that video about the 3 questions, guess what we did? We created a free training, so additional training that they can opt in for. So they would see this video, we would follow up with this video to the first ad, and then we would put them into a database where they're now getting access to a free training to uncover the power of their story to increase sales, right? So in the first video, we talked about one of the questions you must answer is, who are you? You must answer that question, who are you? And so now in this stage, we're saying, listen, after they understand that one of the questions they need to answer is, who are you? Then of course, then you need to know, okay, how do I tell them who I am in a compelling way that I can connect with them? Well, it's through telling stories, right? So that's the strategic way we develop that process to move people into becoming a qualified lead. So of course, like I said, you can do ebooks, you can do free video trainings, you can do 5-day challenges like my client Tasha, checklists, reports, even webinars, right? Or a lot of people are using Zooms today, so you can do Zoom presentations. You can invite people to a Zoom presentation, have them sign up for that, and that's really powerful. So here's some additional transition offers. Of course, live events are very, very powerful. Today that, we're not doing a lot of live events because of COVID, but, doing virtual events are very, very powerful as well. So for Andy, we also do live stream events, live webinars that are very, very powerful as a way to get people to provide their information, a name and email address, and become a lead. And then, of course, we'll be able to follow up with them to generate results. Okay, so we talked about the stage number one is the awareness stage. You want to connect with your audience. Step number two is you want to then convert them to a lead. Then stage number three is now you want to convert them to a sale. So now they're lead. How do you then convert them to a sale? Okay, so the goal is to ultimately convert people to become a client, to become a patient, whatever industry you're in. And so that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, here's what you have to know. Ultimately, when someone initially connects with you in the awareness stage, then all of a sudden, you're addressing their problems. They're building that relationship with you. They are seeing that you're an authority in this space, okay? And they're aware of a solution. And they're saying, wow, this is a potential vendor, a person that I can connect with to solve my problem. But oftentimes, fear creeps in for people, right? We all have fear. And anytime we're at a stage of commitment or decision, we like to look to see, who else is out there that's using their service? Who else out there can provide to me evidence that if I move forward, there's not going to be any risk? That's the way that we think. So when it comes to making a commitment and in the decision stage, here's what you have to understand. Every customer is looking to validate their decision. Every customer is looking to lower the risk of their decision, which is why oftentimes when we're about to make a decision or purchase, we may ask a friend or ask for recommendations, things like that. We're looking to minimize the risk, okay? So in this stage, really it's about, number one, of course, follow-up. We want to follow up with those who have become leads, okay? And we want to then address the objections. All right. So we want to create objection ads, additional questions they may have, things that may stop them from moving forward. Also, demonstrating if we have a program, giving them like a tour of the offer or program so that they can see behind the scenes what they're getting, so we can manage that expectation. That helps to lower risk as well. Providing case studies from our clients, right? Or stories from our clients of how we've been helping them to go from a problem to a solution. And of course, details on our offer. So these are the different ways in the follow-up, right? If we have them on an email database, we send out emails. These are the type of content pieces that we can follow up with to generate, and lower the anxiety or lower the fear of them making a commitment, and then, incentivizing them to move forward. So all these different content pieces, guess what? You can turn them into ads, right? And so, and of course, guarantees as well. All these things can be inside of an ad, right? These are all the different types of messaging that you can have, but these are all different ways you can utilize the ads to be able to move them to a sale. Okay, so here's an example from Dr. Carizella. This is an ad, a testimony ad we put together for him to follow up with those people who have opted in or have requested the free report. We want to provide them with evidence to showcase, listen, it's safe for you to give us a call and schedule an appointment because here's other people who've gone through the program and they've had great results, and we know we can help you as well. So that lowers the risk and people feel comfortable with calling to schedule an appointment, right? So here's a little bit of a carousel ad. This is an ad that shows multiple images inside of the one ad. And this is an ad for Andy Enriquez that we use to showcase that other people were signing up for his program. So as people seen other people sign up for the program, it helps to reassure them that, wow, okay, it's safe to go ahead and do so, right? So in the decision stage, your goal is to be able to validate the offer. The goal is to be able to validate their decision and to make them feel safe so they can move forward. Okay, so you answer their objections. You can tour your program, right? Do videos where you can tour their program. Case studies are huge. Stories, testimonials are going to be huge in this stage for you to generate the results. Okay, so this is part of the process of closing the sale. All right, so one other thing is doing things like repurposing, okay? So a lot of times, you may be using Zooms, or there's a software called StreamYard now that a lot of people are using, right? Where they can interview people on Facebook, doing Facebook Lives. So you want to take those pieces of content and repurpose them. What if, if you're having a tough time getting testimonies from your client, what if you jumped on a Zoom call or maybe a StreamYard call with a client and just had a conversation about the transformation they received from working with you or buying your product or your service, right? Because again, people are looking to validate their decision. So you can showcase through a conversation that, wow, look, here's all these people that's generating results. So it's a very effective way to bring a very authentic and raw and transparent way of sharing someone's experience about your product or your service or your program in a way that helps to validate their decision and move them to the next step. Okay, so very, very powerful. And this is what we did for client Tasha and helped her, of course, like I said before, generate over 1,500 leads that ultimately converted 30 people into a program at $5,000 per sale. Very, very powerful. It was a 6-figure launch. And so I was very, very proud of that. So by following these steps, you're going to be able to generate that same result. I'm sure by now you're seeing that you may not have been following these particular steps effectively. Maybe you're following the steps, or maybe you have not been adding the components to the steps that's going to help you to generate results. Okay, so just want to share with you what happened with Dr. Carazella's campaign. We were able to increase his revenues by 25% in 90 days. By implementing the strategy that I showed you, we increased his revenues by 25%. It was so effective that even from the first ad, which is not very typical, but because you use stories and because you built in inner relatability, we had people inquiring about scheduling calls with him from the first ad, right? So we moved them from, of course, the story ad to the free ebook and then ultimately to the testimonial. So it generated a 25% increase in revenues in 9 days. Andy Enriquez, we were able to help him to 20x his ad spend on the first campaign that we ran for him. So we spent less than $1,000 and generated over $20,000 in sales. So as you know, he has an amazing smile. He was definitely smiling that day, right? So you also can smile all the way to the bank by implementing this particular process and making sure that you are following the steps that I just outlined. Step number 1 is to make sure that you're connecting. Step number 2 is convert those connections into a lead by providing additional value and addressing your prospect's concern. And number 3 is validating their decision. Okay, social proof validates their decision and making sure that you have guarantees and offers and answer their objections. So these are the results of the campaign, and I just wanted to share with you how clients are getting results by utilizing Facebook advertising. And if you're not getting results right now, then you certainly want to make sure you're implementing the process. So let's just recap. So number 1, you want to capture your audience attention. Very, very important. You do that by telling stories and making sure that you're addressing your clients' questions or concerns, and of course their problems that they're having. You build trust and authority by addressing the questions and concerns, and then you want to enroll them into the next step by showcasing your results, right? Ultimately, results sell. Results convert, and that's what you want to do. You want to always be documenting your results, and you want to be showcasing those results. Okay, so I want to thank you for watching this presentation today. And if you got some great value and like to go deep dive with me, I want to invite you to join me in my free Facebook group. It's called Profitable Ads Academy. Okay, maybe you have some specific questions and you wanted to, learn more about how to build very effective ads on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. I go deep dive in the group where I talk about, some of these specific things, what's working now, best practices. All you have to do is to go to Facebook and type in Profitable Ads Academy. Go ahead and join the group, and we'll accept you into the group. And I look forward to seeing you and helping you to grow and scale your business, help you generate more quality leads, and ultimately generate more sales for your business. Thank you so much, and have an amazing, 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 amazing day. Take care.